Hidden deep within the lush, mist-shrouded forests of central Vietnam, the ancient stones of My Son Sanctuary whisper tales of forgotten kingdoms, sacred rites, and the enduring ingenuity of human hands. As visitors step through the tranquil greenery of Quang Nam Province, approximately 40 kilometers southwest of the vibrant lantern-lit city of Hoi An, they find themselves transported to a realm where history, myth, and architectural marvel blend seamlessly into one harmonious landscape. This is My Son Sanctuary, an extraordinary temple complex that once served as the spiritual heart of the Champa Kingdom for nearly 1,000 years. In 1999, UNESCO recognized My Son as a World Heritage Site, honoring its unparalleled cultural, architectural, and spiritual significance. Yet My Son's story begins far earlier, in the early centuries of the first millennium, when the kingdom of Champa flourished along the central and southern coasts of Vietnam. Between the 4th and 13th centuries, generations of Cham people shaped their beliefs, artistic vision, and engineering prowess into the red brick towers and intricate sandstone sculptures that still stand, even as the forest seeks to reclaim them. Nestled in a natural amphitheater, ringed by the blue silhouettes of the Cat's Tooth Mountains, My Son became known as the Valley of Kings. Here, amidst the songs of cicadas and the scent of tropical blooms, Cham monarchs worshipped the supreme Hindu god Shiva, known locally as Bhadresvara. My Son was not only a sanctuary, but a sacred cosmological center, a spiritual bridge connecting heaven and earth, royalty and deity. It symbolized the kingdom's prosperity, reverence for Hindu traditions, and the Cham people's unique interpretation of sacred mysteries brought from India to Southeast Asia. At the core of My Son's spirituality is the devotion to Shiva, sourced from Hindu influences arriving via maritime trade routes linking India, Southeast Asia, and China. Shiva appears in countless forms, but in Cham belief, he is both a destroyer and a creator, a cosmic dancer embodying the cycles of life and death. Within My Son, Shiva's power is evoked by the sacred linga and yoni, the former a column symbolizing masculine creative energy, the latter a vessel representing the feminine principle. Together, they channel the primal forces that give birth to the universe, ensuring the fertility of the land and the legitimacy of Cham rulers who acted as earthly representatives of the divine. The temples and shrines themselves seem to glow with an inner fire, as if infused with the energy of the gods. Constructed from a distinctive red brick, each tower rises with elegant form, displaying motifs drawn from both Hindu iconography and Cham artistry. The ancient builders eschewed mortar, deploying secret techniques to bond the bricks so seamlessly that, even after centuries of monsoon rains and forest humidity, many walls remain resilient and almost untouched by time. How they achieved this feat has puzzled scientists and archaeologists, for the compounds and skills employed have been lost to the ages. Some speculate the answer lies in a natural resin or the unique firing of the bricks before assembly. Others point to the perfect harmony of material, climate, and spiritual intent. Sandstone was also widely used, most notably for intricate carvings and statuary. Mythical creatures, celestial dancers called apsaras, and deities in meditation are chiseled near portals and altars, proclaiming the sacred character of each space. Reliefs narrate timeless epics from Hindu mythology, from the triumphs and trials of Rama to the cosmic meditations of Shiva himself, giving voice to a civilization that once commanded both land and sea. The sanctuary's layout reflects careful planning and sacred geometry. My Son consists of several groups of towers and temples, labeled A through G, each with its own significance and orientation. The central cluster, Group B, C, and D, contains the oldest and most elaborate structures, including principal sanctuaries built to honor the reigning king's patron deity, auxiliary towers dedicated to ancestral spirits, and even libraries meant to house sacred texts. These complexes were not only places of daily worship, but also the focal points of royal ceremonies, coronations, and annual festivals invoking the favor of Shiva, for the kingdom's prosperity. Though many temples have succumbed to the wear of centuries and the violence of more recent times, several shrines and towers remain partially restored, standing as silent witnesses to the once unbroken devotional life of the Champa royals and their priests. The main sanctuary often features the Linga Yoni, which at one time would have been bathed in sweet-smelling oils and adorned with offerings of flowers, rice, and incense, a practice echoing for over a millennium. On the weathered stones, inscriptions offer a glimpse into long-lost rituals, dynastic histories, and sacred beliefs. Written in ancient Cham script and Sanskrit, these records immortalize the rulers who commissioned the sanctuaries, the details of ceremonies performed, and philosophical reflections on the nature of life, kingship, and salvation. Though time and conflict have effaced many of these messages, scholars continue to decipher their meanings, rediscovering the voice of the Cham people through poetry and prayer preserved in stone. Yet my son's tranquility once echoed with the thunder of artillery and the wounds of war. During the Vietnam War, the sanctuary's remote jungle location served as a base for resistance fighters, rendering the temples vulnerable to bombing raids. Craters scar the sacred ground, while some towers have been reduced to piles of brick and shattered sculpture. In the decades since, preservationists and archaeologists from around the world have united in their resolve to restore the sanctuary. Living trees are carefully cleared to prevent root damage. Damaged vaults and roofs are lovingly rebuilt. Every effort is made to balance historical authenticity with the subtle needs of an ever-encroaching natural world. My son is often compared to the monumental Angkor Wat in neighboring Cambodia, yet it gathers its power from a different spirit. While Angkor's scale dwarfs my son, the Vietnamese site offers a rare intimacy, a spiritual tranquility magnified by its isolation and the constant murmur of living forest. Mist entwines the towers at sunrise. Birds nestle in ancient niches. Here, the jungle is a living participant, co-creator of the mystery. The boundary between the sacred and the natural is continually blurred. A distinguishing feature of my son, and of Cham civilization more broadly, is the dominant influence of Hinduism. This sets it apart from much of Vietnam, which has long been shaped by Mahayana and Theravada Buddhist traditions. The persistence of Hindu symbols, such as the linga and yoni, the statuary of Shiva as both ascetic and dancer, and the intricate carvings illustrating Indian epics signify a remarkable instance of cross-cultural fertilization. The Cham adapted Hindu art and religious practice to their own environment and sensibilities, resulting in a unique blend visible nowhere else in the region. The architectural style of my son is at once sophisticated and inventive. Towers are capped with tiered roofs, often culminating in a lotus-shaped finial, symbolizing spiritual awakening. Decorative patterns emerge from entwining foliage, mythical animals, and scenes of devotion. Walls are sometimes entirely plain, other times crowded with bas-reliefs and friezes that leap to life in the moving sunlight. Each group of structures, from Group B's grand sanctuaries to the more modest towers of Group G, serves a modeled function within the cosmic order imagined by Cham architects. The legacy of the Cham people endures not only in the stones of my son, but in Vietnam's living cultural fabric. The Cham were celebrated sailors and traders, their language and art spreading along oceanic trade routes from India to China and beyond. They contributed extraordinary dance and musical traditions, and their descendants today, though now a minority, maintain distinct practices and languages that bear testimony to a civilization deeply connected to both land and sea. One might encounter the ornate Apsara dance, all graceful hand gestures and radiant costumes, or see intricate textiles bearing motifs drawn directly from temple carvings. Cham myth and music are echoed in village festivals and family ceremonies, subtle reminders that my son is not merely an artifact, but a foundation stone of Vietnamese and Southeast Asian identity. Many of the sanctuary's treasures, statues, bronze ritual objects, and architectural fragments have found a new home at the Cham Museum in Da Nang. This institution preserves a connection between past and present, allowing visitors to contemplate the artistry and faith that shaped my son, even as they marvel at the skill of those who created these wonders centuries ago. The existence of inscriptions in both Sanskrit and Cham reveals a world in active dialogue with its neighbors, and with the deeper philosophical traditions of India. Kings proclaimed their victories in poetic verse. Priests recited mantras to channel the divine into stone, and artisans left their signatures disguised as prayers for immortality. Each carving, each brick, each weathered fragment tells a chapter in the intertwined story of faith, power, art, and endurance. Today, my son remains a place of pilgrimage, not just for tourists, but for those seeking a connection to history's bedrock, a sense of awe at what humanity can achieve with vision and devotion. The site's spiritual aura is palpable, shafts of sunlight illuminating fractured lintels, moss-clad sculptures emerging from shadow, the heady perfume of jungle and incense merging in the mind as one walks from shrine to shrine. In these moments, the distinction between past and present fades away, and visitors become participants in a living continuum that stretches back more than 1,000 years. To visit my son is to encounter a masterpiece of spiritual architecture and cultural adaptation. The sanctuary's red brick towers stand as enduring symbols of the Cham people's devotion, creativity, and engagement with the vast currents of history and belief. Whether contemplated in silence beneath the spreading branches or studied in the serene halls of Da Nang's Cham Museum, the spirit of my son resonates still, a profound reminder of the power of place, tradition, and faith to endure against the passage of time and the shifting sands of history. As the sun dips below the surrounding mountains and shadows stretch across the ancient stones, my son continues to keep its mysteries. For each visitor, it offers a unique revelation, a deeper understanding of humanity's search for meaning, a renewed respect for cultures shaped by cross-currents of trade and belief, and a lasting tribute to the genius and perseverance of the Cham civilization. In every brick, in every prayer carved into stone, in every gentle rustle of the encroaching forest, my son's sanctuary invites us to listen and to remember. When planning your exploration of the ancient My Son sanctuary, the journey begins well before you set foot amid the evocative, moss-covered temples. Reaching this World Heritage Site is both accessible and scenic. Most travelers embark from Hoi An or Da Nang, both vibrant cities rich in central Vietnamese culture and history. The journey to my son typically takes around 1 to 2 hours, and there are several ways to reach the site, each with its own flavor of adventure and convenience. Travelers who prioritize comfort and flexibility often choose a private car, arranging transport either through a local hotel or a reputable travel service. This option not only affords you the luxury of air conditioning and a stress-free ride, but it also allows you to customize your itinerary, potentially combining My Son with other nearby attractions. For the more intrepid, a motorbike journey offers an immersive and exhilarating experience. Navigating winding country roads and passing through tiny villages, you'll see snapshots of rural Vietnam otherwise missed. The scenery alone, lush rice fields, water buffalo grazing, locals tending roadside markets, is worth the ride. Motorcycle rental shops are plentiful in Hoi An and Da Nang. Always ensure your bike is in good condition, and don't forget a helmet and insurance. For those who prefer expert guidance, small group tours and organized day excursions are abundant. These tours generally include round-trip transportation, a knowledgeable guide, and sometimes even a light breakfast. Tours often leave early in the morning, maximizing your experience while minimizing the risk of getting caught in the midday heat. Timing is everything at My Son. Local wisdom, and the recommendations of seasoned travelers, advocate an early start. Arriving between 6 and 8 o'clock in the morning means you'll encounter fewer crowds. In those early hours, the site is wrapped in soft, golden light, with only the sound of chattering birds and distant chanting, lending a haunting serenity to the ancient ruins. The temperature is milder too, making your exploration far more comfortable. Before leaving your hotel, consider your attire. My Son Sanctuary is more than a cluster of ruins. It is a sacred spiritual site, deeply respected by locals and Cham descendants. Modest clothing is advised. Think lightweight, breathable fabrics that cover your shoulders and knees. A wide-brimmed hat and sunscreen are wise against the Vietnamese sun, and sturdy walking shoes will help navigate the sometimes uneven stone paths. Stepping inside the complex, you'll find a harmonious blend of nature and history. Well-marked walking trails guide you from one temple group to the next, winding through shaded jungle groves and overgrown courtyards echoing with centuries of history. Lush greenery blankets much of the ground, with towering trees casting dappled light and roots reaching across ancient bricks, a vivid symbol of nature reclaiming the remnants of a lost kingdom. Exploration is leisurely here, a gradual unfolding rather than a rushed checklist. Each turn reveals new perspectives, intricately carved bas-reliefs of celestial beings, towers rising toward the trees, and delicate lintels displaying age-old Cham iconography. Many visitors find themselves lingering to absorb the rich detail, which changes with the shifting sun. One of my son's unique pleasures is its emphasis on living culture. Nearly every day, local dance troupes perform traditional Cham dances against the temple backdrop. As the music begins, you'll be transported to a different time. Performers in elaborate, colorful costumes move gracefully to the beat of drums and the haunting sound of the Cham flute. The stories told are drawn from Hindu mythology and Cham history, offering a vivid, multi-sensory glimpse into the beliefs and artistry of the people who built the temples 1,000 years ago. The entire complex exudes a spiritual ambiance, one that feels less like a tourist attraction and more like a meditative retreat. The air is thick with reverence, punctuated only by birdsong and the whisper of leaves. Here, many travelers find themselves speaking in hushed tones or observing quiet contemplation. Some sit among the ruins, soaking in an atmosphere that feels sacred and restorative. For those who catch the photography bug, my son offers endless opportunities. Early morning is the golden hour, when the temples appear to glow and shadows add depth to every photo. The aged brickwork, mottled with green moss and slender plant tendrils, is particularly photogenic in this light. Bring a wide-angle lens if possible. These temples are best captured with grandeur, framed by towering trees and jungle foliage. Don't forget to occasionally lower your camera, though, and simply watch how the rising light transforms the sanctuary's mood. Nature lovers will find delight as well. The forest surrounding the site teems with bird life and delicate butterflies, which flit free among the ruins. Their presence, combined with the chorus of jungle insects and the wind in the trees, creates an immersive soundtrack that complements the site's ancient aura. Interacting with a local guide is highly recommended. While it's tempting to wander independently, guides bring the silent stones to life, revealing layers of symbolism etched into every statue and lintel. You'll learn about the Shiva Linga towers, the Nandi bulls, and the Sanskrit inscriptions that decorate the walls. Guides share not just facts, but vibrant tales of the Cham people, their worship practices, and the turbulent history that left many temples in ruins. To fully appreciate my son, timing your visit to avoid crowds is key. The complex is busiest from late morning to early afternoon, especially when large tour buses arrive. By arriving at sunrise or in the last hours before closing, you'll enjoy the peacefulness that elevates my son from just another tourist site to a sanctuary in the true sense of the word. Access is affordable for most travelers. The entrance fee is modest and helps support ongoing restoration and conservation efforts. The site is open every day, usually from 6 in the morning until 5 in the evening. Entrance includes the use of a shuttle bus that brings you from the parking area into the heart of the sanctuary, an added convenience, especially on hotter days. Your visit doesn't have to end at my son. Combine the trip with a stop at Than Ha Pottery Village, where artisans craft delicate vases and figurines using centuries-old techniques. Or continue on to Hoi An, famed for its glowing lanterns and riverside market streets. In both places, you can observe the living heritage of Vietnamese craft and culture, connecting past and present in a single seamless journey. Souvenirs at my son are often handmade and carry the spirit of the Champa Kingdom. Look for stone carvings inspired by temple motifs, lightweight scarves adorned with geometric Cham patterns, and traditional musical instruments like the gineng or baranung, perfect reminders of your journey into Vietnam's cultural heart. As with all sacred places, cultural respect is paramount. Treat the site with the same reverence shown by locals. Don't climb on the ruins or disturb the delicate carvings. These stones are fragile remnants of a once great society. Keep your voice low and embrace silence in designated temple zones, allowing both yourself and others to reflect in peace. Signage throughout the complex is clear. Following it not only ensures your safety, but helps protect my son for future generations. Environmental stewardship is central to the ongoing preservation of this unique site. Bring a refillable water bottle rather than plastic, and use the bins provided to dispose of any trash. Always stay on marked paths to avoid trampling delicate archaeological features and to help maintain the fragile balance between jungle and stone. Supporting local conservation efforts, even in small ways, ensures that my son remains a living legacy. For those enchanted by history, my son is a treasure trove. Its temples predate Vietnam's Buddhist and Confucian periods, offering a window into a world where Hindu deities and ancient astronomical knowledge were woven into daily life. Inscriptions found on weathered stones reveal stories of kings, priests, and artisans who left their mark on Southeast Asian civilization. But even for those less versed in history, a visit to my son is memorable and meaningful. The blend of architecture and untamed nature, the palpable sense of tranquility, and the vibrant pulse of living Cham culture make for a truly immersive day. The spirit of my son lies not just in its bricks and carvings, but in the way the site brings people together, from distant travelers to local villagers, from children listening to ancient tales to elders who carry on the sacred traditions. As you prepare to leave the sanctuary, take a moment under the shade of a soaring fig tree or beside a crumbling column. Let the scene imprint itself on your memory. The song of jungle birds weaving through entwined branches, the faint scent of incense from a hidden altar, the shifting light dappling ancient stones. Realize that you stand where kings and spiritual leaders once walked, and where time seems both suspended and alive. The true wonder of my son is its ability to transcend simple tourism. Here, among the remnants of the Champa civilization, each visitor connects in some quiet way to the mysteries of belief, creativity, and resilience that shaped these temples. My son is far more than a collection of lost ruins. It is the enduring heart of a vanished kingdom, inviting all who enter to share in its secrets. Whether you come seeking breathtaking photographs, a quiet place for reflection, or a deep dive into Vietnam's cultural roots, my son offers an experience that lingers long after your visit. Treat it with care, approach it with an open heart, and you will find yourself enriched by the stones, the stories, the jungle, and the heritage that endures in every mossy corner. In the end, my son is a sanctuary in every sense. A space where history breathes, nature flourishes, and peace lives amid the echoes of ancient devotion. It is a place to be embraced, preserved, and cherished, not simply for what it was, but for what it continues to mean. To Vietnam, to Southeast Asia, and to those who wander its paths seeking wonder and connection.